On the afternoon of April 4 local time, NATO held a ceremony at its headquarters in Brussels to formally admit Finland into the alliance, and the Finnish flag was raised at the NATO headquarters. This brings the number of NATO member states to 31. Russia's NATO neighbors have increased to 6 countries, and the length of the border between Russia and NATO has increased by 1,200 kilometers. In the early morning of February 24, 2022, Russia suddenly launched a special military operation against Ukraine in the context of repeatedly denying that it would attack Ukraine, probably because of soldiers never tire of fraud. After the start of the special military operation, the Russian army launched an attack on the entire territory of Ukraine from 3 directions: Crimea, Donbass, and the border between Belarus and Ukraine. All of a sudden, Kiev, Donbass, Kharkov, Kherson, and Zaporizhzhia were all in crisis. After the Russian-Ukrainian conflict broke out, Ukrainian President Zelensky called Polish President Duda for help and said, "This may be the last time we talk, and we may never see each other again." At the same time, Biden suggested that Zelensky transfer to Poland, or some Eastern European countries closer to Ukraine, while the United Kingdom urgently prepared for Zelensky to establish a government in exile. Unexpectedly, Zelensky, who was born as a comedian, was so stubborn that he even risked his life. When the Russian special forces were only 200 meters away from his basement, he chose not to escape. Inspired by Zelensky's did not escape, the Ukrainian military and civilians carried out an incredible Battle of Kiev. We won't talk about the subsequent process. Russia, known as the second military power in the world, was trapped in Ukraine in this way. Regarding the strategic dilemma Russia has fallen into because of this special military operation, we have summarized 4 unexpected. First, we did not expect Zelensky to be not afraid of death. Second, we did not expect the performance of the powerful Russian army turned out to be so poor. Third, we did not expect that Western countries would support Ukraine so firmly. Fourth, Finland and Sweden dare to openly support Ukraine. There must always be a reason for war. Russia's reason to prevent NATO's eastward expansion is too far-fetched. To stop NATO from expanding eastward is to weaken US hegemony. From this point of view, it seems reasonable. Indeed, in this world, many things are unexpected. There is necessity in accident, and there is accident in necessity. The same is true of this special Russian military operation. First of all, the international community did not expect Russia to launch such a special military operation. When Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with Putin, he said to his old friend with a little surprise, "Now is not the age of war." The implication is, what era is this? This is not the age of war. A gentleman uses his tongue but not his fists. Secondly, the whole world did not expect that the performance of the Russian army was so poor. Finland and Sweden took this opportunity to apply to join NATO. Finland has successfully joined. When Sweden joins NATO, it should be only a matter of time. Why did Finland join NATO? In the Soviet-Finnish War, the number of Soviet casualties was 273,000, while that of Finland was 24,923. Obviously, the casualties of the Soviet army were relatively large. However, the outcome of the war was that Finland lost 10% of its territory and the Karelian Isthmus. The Russia-Ukraine war has given Finland another sense of tension. One of the purposes of Putin's special military operation against Ukraine is to establish a buffer zone to reduce contact with NATO. The result was that Ukraine desperately wanted to defect to the West. Finland and Sweden gave up their neutral status and joined NATO without hesitation. It is obvious that the security environment in Russia has become worse than it was before the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Regarding the current situation facing Russia, Medvedev said with emotion a few days ago, "We are in a unique situation. For the first time in at least 150 years, we are alone."